Hey, what's going on, you guys? My name is the Raptor, and welcome back to Who'd Win and Why. And this time we've got Dr. Kirk Langstrom, aka ManBat, going up against Dr. Michael Morbius, aka Morbius, the living vampire. Both of these doctors unexpectedly mutated into their bat-like transformations through their own experimentation, and they're able to give some incredible heroes a hard time during battle. But today it's time for me to decide who I think would reign supreme in a one-on-one brawl to the death. So, who'd win and why? Let's find out! Alright, so first we're going to talk about ManBat. Kirk Langstrom was a brilliant biochemist and zoologist who specialized in chiropterology, also known as the study of bats. Kirk was fascinated by a bat's unique ability to produce sonar waves and planned to create a formula that would grant humans the same level of extrasensory awareness, not just for humanity's sake, but also to compensate for his own rapid hearing loss. Using a bat's DNA and his sheer determination, Kirk eventually developed a successful serum, but boy did it have the craziest side effects ever. In no time, Kirk went from physically unintimidating scientist to enormous humanoid bat creature with giant wings and a massive loss of intelligence. While in this man-bat state, he attempted to steal various chemicals that he believed could restore his human form, but his plan was thwarted by Batman, the Dark Knight of Gotham City. ManBat was eventually given an antidote, but he became helplessly addicted to his serum, leading to many more transformations and battles with Batman. He even once altered the serum so that he would retain his superb human mind, but unfortunately that didn't last for too long, at least not consistently, making him even more of an unpredictable monster. If you couldn't tell already, ManBat isn't your typical Gotham back alley crime boss. His remarkable strength has proven tough for the Caped Crusader to overcome on many different occasions, and he's not without feats. He's been shown lifting a police car over his head with minimal effort, and is fully capable of killing a normal human with just one hit, not to mention his displays of leaving dents in strong metals like steel and iron. He's tough enough to power through many of the gadgets in Batman's utility belt, including small explosive attacks, and while he's not completely bulletproof, he has taken rounds of enemy gunfire and kept fighting like a champ. But of course, ManBat's most notable features are his giant bat-like wings, which allow him to fly through the air at incredible altitudes for very long periods of time. While it's estimated that his top flight speed may rest at the 125 mile per hour mark, it's possible he could amp it up even further to outrace the Batmobile, which can travel well beyond 300 miles per hour. ManBat can fly with uncanny levels of precision and maneuverability thanks to echolocation, a process involving emitting sound waves which bounce off of various surfaces to achieve greater detection of incoming obstacles, much like bats do in the real world. And his normal senses have been increased to superhuman levels, letting him see, hear, and smell almost anything within considerable distances, making it extremely tough to take him by surprise. His claws can easily tear through human flesh, his fangs can suck the blood from his victims, which essentially siphons their energy, his brain can communicate with nearby bats, and he can shriek loud enough to break glass and cause significant pain in others, requiring a loudness of over 100 decibels. His body can also heal itself over time if something does manage to get through his thick hide. ManBat's physical stats and traits make him a tough villain for many to overcome, but a loud enough sound or a bright enough light can significantly disrupt his incredible senses. Also, as mentioned before, his mutations into his ManBat form can be pretty inconsistent when it comes to how they affect his brain, and there's no guarantee that he'll retain his amazing intellect as opposed to turning into a mindless beast. But nevertheless, ManBat remains one of Gotham's strongest threats and is well-rounded enough to consistently challenge the Batman. He may not be invincible, but his toughness, senses, and mobility combined are sure to give anyone a good run for their money. Alright, so now it's time to move over to Morbius. Michael Morbius was a brilliant biochemist who specialized in the study of blood disease. He was very accomplished in his field and even won a Nobel Prize for his work, but unfortunately his time was running out as he was dying from an extremely rare condition which was dissolving his blood cells, and Michael made it his goal to create the cure to save himself. His working treatment included a combination of electrical shock treatment and extracting the DNA from vampire bats, because what could possibly go wrong with that? Of course, the process resulted in some very unexpected effects, and while the formula did prevent certain death, it also transformed Michael into a superhumanly strong, vampire-like creature with claws, fangs, pale skin, and a lust for blood. Specifically, he turned into a pseudo-vampire, not a true undead one, as his powers stem from scientific means instead of mystical ones. Well, mostly. It's complicated. Now going by Morbius, he started wreaking havoc across New York City in search of fresh blood, which naturally caught the attention of the city's friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, who brought him down. This routine would continue for many years in the comics, but Morbius has since become more of an anti-hero, sometimes even teaming up with Spider-Man during his tougher missions. But no matter what side he's on, he's a bloody vicious force to be reckoned with. Morbius's list of abilities easily checks off most of the boxes in the vampire starter pack and then some. His retractable claws allow him to rip his opponents to shreds with ease, and his fangs give him the same effectiveness and more through the draining of his victim's blood. Consuming blood from a living target can substantially increase his strength and stamina, but if he draws enough of it, he can turn that target into a pseudo-vampire just like himself, albeit a bit of a weakened version that follows his every command. But if he just wants to cut to the chase, he can straight up hypnotize people with his more recently acquired power of mesmerism, though anyone with the right amount of willpower can resist the mental assault. Morbius can also use his mind to psionically glide through the air, though it's definitely not perfect flight. In fact, while he does possess minor shapeshifting powers, he's not able to transform into a bat, which just seems unacceptable for such a vampire-like character. But thankfully, he still retains his high level of intelligence when transformed, and he's definitely got the strength, speed, and durability to match. In addition to battling Spider-Man on many different occasions, sometimes even definitively overpowering and outpacing him, he's taken on a plethora of opponents ranging from Lizard and Venom to Basilisk and Ghost Rider. He's strong enough to break metal weapons and restraints without breaking a sweat, and his impressive healing factor lets him power through near-fatal wounds and stay at top condition for hours. His senses are also greatly enhanced, which explains his incredible reaction speed, and his ability to see infrared wavelengths gives him a sort of night vision, though it's really just him detecting a person's body heat. Being a pseudo-vampire as opposed to a traditional, supernatural one, Morbius actually doesn't possess the fatal vulnerabilities that are typically associated with vampires, including sunlight, religious icons, and wooden stakes through the heart. However, he's not physically invincible by any means, and he can sometimes enter a more uncontrollably feral state of mind in the middle of battle, especially when he goes long without ingesting fresh blood, which he needs in order to maintain his ongoing stamina. But at the end of the day, vampires and living vampires alike don't come much tougher than Michael Morbius. A less popular Spider-Man character to be sure, but still a worthy adversary for many of the heroic and villainous players in the gallery and beyond. Alright, so now that I've gone over both of these characters, it's finally time for me to say who I think would win this battle. And on paper, these two are certainly a great match for each other considering their similar origins and their enhanced stats and senses. Thematically, versus debates don't get much better than this if you ask me. However, when looking at the higher ends of their capabilities, I do personally believe that Morbius would be the winner of this fight. And if you think that ManBat would win, that's great, that's totally fine, let me know why down in the comments below, but first here's my reasoning for why I think Morbius would win more often than not. ManBat is generally depicted as one of Batman's most physically intimidating opponents, so he definitely stands out among his fellow Arkham inmates. But when directly comparing him to someone like Morbius, he's not looking so tough. Both Kirk and Michael can damage various metals and they can move much faster than any normal human, but the fact that Morbius keeps up with Spider-Man in combat again and again shows that he has what it takes to overpower ManBat. Now, to be clear, brawling with Spider-Man does not automatically mean that they're at the exact same level, especially considering that Spidey doesn't often use his full power unless absolutely necessary. But while Morbius may not be fully on par, he can still scale to him pretty damn well. Not only has he done some serious damage to Spider-Man and taken hits from characters like Venom and Ghost Rider, he's also easily torn through Spider-Man's super strong webbing, and he's moved faster than Spider-Man could visually perceive. Hell, Morbius once strategized and moved in less time than it took lightning-fast giant hands to crush him from a couple meters away. He was thinking and moving so fast that the speed of lightning appeared to slow to a crawl, and thanks to his enhanced senses, it's hard to even catch him off guard. To be fair, ManBat's echolocation and senses could increase his his own reactions, and his wings definitely allow for greater aerial speed and maneuverability than Morbius's gliding. But the sad truth is, ManBat just doesn't have the feats necessary to prove that he could tangle with characters as strong as Spider-Man or Venom. And he definitely doesn't have a lot of experience in that field, considering that he's always taken down by Batman's intelligence and gadgetry, not pure brute force. Even if we could somehow prove that ManBat does indeed match Morbius in strength, speed, and durability, Morbius has way more abilities at his disposal that could easily put him further ahead. For one, Morbius's healing factor is proven to be much more potent than ManBat's accelerated healing. So while ManBat's claws definitely stand a good chance against Morbius's durability, it would take more than a few good strikes to put him down. And in addition to his own claws and fangs, Morbius has ways to directly manipulate his opponents if he gets them in the right position, like how he can hypnotize them or even turn them into vampiric beings by draining their blood. ManBat may be able to summon swarms of bats in his near vicinity, but Morbius's vampire powers and physical superiority are way better for the long run, and Morbius is immune to virtually all the standard vampire weaknesses, though it's not like ManBat could even exploit them anyway. The only trait that ManBat almost definitively has over Morbius is overall senses, as ManBat's vision and hearing are so acute that too much intense stimuli can cause him significant pain, which Morbius wouldn't really be able to exploit. On the flip side, ManBat's sound wave generation could certainly take advantage of Morbius's advanced hearing, but in no way is it some kind of trump card. ManBat can scream loud enough to cause pain in humans and even produce small shock waves, but that would only require 194 decibels to pull off. It would take over 100 times more power to equal just 5 tons of TNT, so he's not going to be doing too much physical damage to Morbius with his screams. And ManBat's greater senses and echolocation simply aren't enough to match Morbius's crazy speed, which would allow Morbius to capitalize more on his far more reliable special abilities. Overall, both of these characters have what it takes for a full-out brawl, but only one of them has the track record and the feats needed to soar above. Even if ManBat was able to retain his intellect after his transformation, Morbius's own intellect and fighting ability are more than enough to match him, and he just falls short in too many additional areas. ManBat's maneuverability would certainly keep any foe on guard, but I feel that Morbius's superior strength, speed, durability, versatility, and experience would get the job done before sunrise. So, in my opinion, the winner is Morbius. So guys, thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, please give this video a like. If you want to see more who, when, and why, you can click the box on the right. If you want to see more of what the channel has in store, you can click the box on the left. And if you have any suggestions for future who, when, and why episodes, be sure to subscribe and leave a comment down below. But no matter what you guys do, thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And next time on Who, When, and Why, we've got Dark Willow going up against the White Violin. See you all then.